When I first got to prison, I thought that all my pain was because they'd locked me up. I had turned the government and the facility into the biggest monster. They're the ones that did this to me, and if I could just go home, my life would be okay. Prison taught me that I was the problem, that I had control over my response. And the one thing that I could do in prison was become a better person. But it took me a while to get to that point. I remember when I was living in Waseca, Minnesota, and I'm living on a floor where I've done everything I can to have like a really calm, good room. I like our roommates. Everyone on that floor was pretty calm. And then a bunch of girls moved in that were super rowdy across the way. And a lot of the women on that floor thought that I would have the influence to go talk to them and ask them to calm down at night, which really never works in prison. So I started to pray about it. And instead of, I'm praying that they'll change, that peace will be restored and that these girls will calm down. And because I had already figured out at that point that I was the problem in my life and the only thing that I could change was me, like truly, when I work with people in mental health, it's almost always them thinking someone else needs to change instead of looking at what they can do in their own circle of influence. So as I'm praying about it, I start thinking, what can I do? What is within my circle of control and influence? So the next day I go over and I try to get to know these girls. And instead of praying for them to change, I start working on changing myself and seeing the situation differently. What was really cool was, and it takes time, right? It took time, but I really started to build a relationship with these girls. In fact, one of them had their brother pass away while she was locked up and couldn't go to his funeral. And she came over and asked me if I would pray with her. And I just started to get to know them and they started to calm down. And they'd see me on the compound. Hi, Miss Portia, how are you? And we became friends. And what I learned was, over and over in prison, you can only control what you can do. When I started working on becoming the best version of myself, because that was the only thing I could do for my children. My heart was broken that I was separated from my kids, but what I could do is become the better version of myself. And that actually had a really positive influence on my children who were home at the time.